Oh yes, heavens to Betsy! This is gonna be big.
Oh no, not this again. See ya.
No, wait, come here, Alexa, come back. You're just in time. Just in time for the big reveal. The newest ring-worn gear added to LumberJillville.
I'm only going to stay if you drop the timeless Mayor Aaron gimmick and that fake accent.
Fine, but you know what? Timeless Mayor Aaron isn't defined by his accent or even his AEW eye patch. It's about what's in here that's truly timeless.
Yeah, okay, whatever. Can you just do the reveal already?
Oh, yeah. Let's get to that. Ahem. May I present to you ring-worn gear from a legendary, historic woman who graced the wrestling rings at the same time Betty Davis made everyone fall in love on the silver screen. Come here, Alexa. Feast your eyes on authentic ring-worn gear from the legendary Mildred Burke. Look at this wonderful piece in all of its glory.
Mayor Aaron, don't you think that looks a little weird?
Weird? Listen, come here, Alexa. This is exactly what Mildred Burke wore when she wrestled. I mean, fashion was a little bit different in the 30s and 40s.
How do you know it's actually ring-worn gear?
Oh, because the eBay seller I got this from said it was.
eBay? Oh dear lord, do you have a certificate of authenticity or proof that this is legit?
Oh, don't be silly. This right here is from the 30s or 40s. That was way before certificates of authenticity were even a thing, or before proof was even a thing.
I think you got bamboozled.
Oh.
What we could be looking at is just some old ladies' swimwear that never belonged to Mildred Burke.
Aw, crap, I think you're right. I think I did get bamboozled. Wait a sec. Does that mean that this other piece of ring-worn gear that I bought from the same unscrupulous seller might also not be authentic ring-worn gear and might be some old lady's swimwear?
Yep.
Hey y'all, welcome to LumberJillville. Women's wrestling lives here, I forgot to change. Now before we get started, I just want to remind you to please hit subscribe to become an official resident of LJV and get a first look at all future women's wrestling figure reviews, like today's very exciting figure review. Now this has been a want of mine since I started making my wish list for what women's wrestling figures I want to see. And one of those is a black and white timeless Toni Storm. And we have one. Ringside Collectibles brought us this awesome Jazwares AEW Toni Storm exclusive, timeless Toni Storm exclusive. And it's in a black and white scheme. And this figure is just beautiful from the packaging to the figure itself. Now, obviously, we'll open it up, take a closer look, give it a score at the end, and really see the details for what they are up close. But I'm just happy to have it next to me. I'm really excited that they got this exclusive out. And I hope she does find her way into one of the main lines, Unrivaled or Unmatched, in the future. But either way, I'm so stoked to have this. This is a long time coming. So without further ado, let's take a closer look at this figure, starting out with the packaging. Jumping right on into the packaging here, this packaging is absolutely beautiful. It's a work of art, is what it is. Jazwares and AEW, when they partner with Ringside Collectibles, they absolutely kill it with the exclusives. Not just the figures themselves. The figures are always very unique and detailed, but the packaging is beautiful. I mean, this packaging is an absolute work of art from all sides, as I'll show you. And I think that is an understated thing that gets overlooked a lot of times, especially because my main focus is reviewing the figure, obviously. But if you're an MOC collector, you need to get this. This packaging is beautiful. And if you're a men's figure collector, check out the other exclusives because they're all generally in the same sized boxes, so they would look awesome next to each other. But yeah, this packaging is gorgeous. Now, as you can see on the front, we have Timeless Toni Storm posing in a black and white filter. With the red lips, we have the AEW Hollywood type sign in the background. We have Timeless Toni Storm. On the side, we have this really, really awesome film reel with her name there, the number, the AEW logo. On the back, we have another image of Timeless Toni Storm, AEW Women's World Champion. And on this side, we have an open window. Now, what's cool is it is Velcro sealed here in the corners to where you can open it up to a nice little window. And even when you open it up, look how freaking cool this is. We have a little Toni Storm, and yes, it is like on a napkin there with her lips, a little kiss print there. And then we have a film strip, and we have a nice open window of the figure. Now, I will say, if you're an MOC collector, yes, you absolutely need this, but I almost feel like I need about 3 of these. One to display like this, one to keep MOC like this, and then obviously one to open. You know what? I might need 4 because I might need to have one for fig photography. But either way, I only have 2, and this was the better package of the 2, so I wanted to show you this one. Now, this window is a nice open window. It would look great to get signed, but I have to wonder, and let me know in the comments if you're an MOC collector that likes to go to conventions and get things signed. Is it an issue when there's a door like this? Like you worry about the door smudging the auto? Let me know in the comments if that's a thing. But either way, very, very cool. I love how it's displayed there. Now, I am not going to open up this one. I am going to open up this one because it came beat up. It is completely smashed, and it's no big deal. I mean, the other one I'm probably not going to keep MOC anyway. My daughter actually said she really wants it for her shelf, so she might open it. But I'm going to open up this one and review it today. So to open it, there's a piece of tape at the top. That'd be funny if I just cut one piece of tape and it opened. So right now we're just focused on the tape on the top. And once you cut that tape, the figure slides right out. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. Now I'm going to take this figure out and let's break it down. Alright, so I just want to say when you take her out of the box itself, you have to cut a lot of these little plastic ties that are holding her in place and her accessories and whatnot. I just want to give you a heads up because these things run rampant in LumberJillville. I have these everywhere, so yeah. Also, she does have plastic on her that you'll have to remove safely to prevent bleeding. Now, that being said, let's move on with the review. AEW Jazwares Ringside Collectibles exclusive Timeless Toni Storm. This attire is from the December 6, 2023 episode of AEW Dynamite. On this night, Toni would win in a truly elegant match by defeating Sky Blue and retaining her AEW World Women's Championship. Y'all, my overall first impressions of this figure, I'm smiling ear to ear. This takes me back to when I reviewed the glow-in-the-dark Naomi Chase Elite. I just had an absolute blast from the beginning to end of that review, and I feel like I'm going to have that with this figure because this is just so unique. So timeless is what I want to say about it. I mean, wow, I am so happy that we got this figure. I honestly didn't think we would get a black and white version of Timeless Toni, and here we have it, and it is spectacular. Now, we will talk about this figure and look at it up close, piece by piece, part by part, but let's start off looking at the accessories. Now, I will say, I was a little blown away because I thought the robe was just a straight re-release of what was used on Julia Hart, but it does appear to be different. Now, before I take that robe off, I just want to show you what I mean. So the arms are very similar with the frills, and even from the waist up is the same. But if you look at the bottom of the robe itself, it actually has a lot more intricate fringe fringe there, so it is actually different than the Julia Hart robe from the waist down. Now, speaking of the robe, I did wish that it was more of this see-through mesh type material with almost like fur or feathers around the arms or around the trim. That would have been a little bit more accurate, but she wore a lot of different robes, and there is one that she wore that is quite like this one. So I think this robe actually works really good. I was afraid that it was a straight re-release of the Julia Hart robe, and I was going to say, no, it should have been a different one, but I think this actually works quite well. Now, the robe does slide right off. You just have to be careful with her open hand there. And as you can see, it's that see-through mesh stretchy type material. Looks really good. It fits her really, really well. And as I just mentioned, it is different than the Julia Hart robe, as you can see, at least from the midsection down. Now, what else Toni comes with? She comes with an alternate head we'll cover next. She also comes with the shoe. You got to watch out for this thing. Watch out for the shoe, because she will throw it. Now, that is super, super awesome that she comes with that. I think that is hilarious. Now, she comes with a left open hand and a right kind of holding hand. Let's see if that holding hand can hold the shoe. You might have to maneuver it. Okay, never mind. It slides right in. That's perfect. I didn't know if it would actually hold it. I didn't even have to try that hard. So there's that. She also comes with a right holding hand and then a left holding hand and then a right open hand. So that'll be really good for posability. Now, the other big accessory is the black and white AEW World Women's Championship, or should I say silver and black. So if we look at the one that came with Toni's previous Unrivaled 14 figure, you can see it's gold and black. And then this one today has the black and white appearance. So this under a black and white filter would look like this. It would look more silver. So I think that is excellent. I love the detail that they even made the belt go with the scheme of this figure. Now, that being said, let's take a closer look at the face scan, face sculpt, and hair sculpt on both heads. Alright, so let's start off with the head that she comes packaged with. Now, as far as the face scan and sculpt, it's not the best. It really isn't, in my opinion. Now, Jazwares can do an excellent job with face scans and sculpts, but sometimes the details on the face can be a little soft. And what I mean by that is the faces can sometimes look a little generic. If you look at all the AEW women's figures, some of them have great likenesses, and some of them just have kind of generic looking faces. And this does look a little generic in my opinion. You can definitely tell it's Toni. I mean, it's not a complete wonky scan and sculpt or anything like that in my opinion, but I do think it is a little bit off as far as the likeness goes. I don't think it's a spot-on capture of her likeness, but I do really, really like that she has the bright red lips in contrast with that grayish type skin tone. We can see her birthmark there, and what's really cool is the hair. The hair sculpt is freaking beautiful. I love when we get unique hair sculpts because we're reviewing women's wrestling figures. The hair sculpt is a big part of the figure in all honesty. And this hair sculpt is freaking fantastic. I absolutely love it. And then it's kind of hard to come across on the camera, but it does come across like a white, but it almost feels like a glow-in-the-dark translucent type white. I don't know, it's hard to explain. I think it works perfectly. I'm not saying it doesn't, but it just has that look that some glow-in-the-dark plastic has. So yeah, I really do like the hair sculpt. And I think the face scan and the sculpt work okay on this, but I do think the likeness is a wee bit off. Now, I'm going to switch out the heads here to the other head she comes with. Maybe. Okay, there we go. I like that it's a firm fit. Oh yeah, this is the scan and sculpt that I like. This scan and sculpt is awesome. I love it. Now, I actually think this looks a little bit more like Toni compared to the other sculpt and scan. Do I think it's spot on? I really don't, and I don't know what it is. I think with this one, I think what was really missing was like the heavy eye makeup around there. I mean, it's not terrible. It's really not. I don't want to make you think that I think it's a horrible likeness. I just think it might be a little bit off. But I do think this one is the better of the two. I love the kissing lips, the bright red, the birthmark. I think it definitely captures her likeness a little more. It's a little more of a fun facial expression. And then we have a different hair sculpt than the other. And I love this hair sculpt. Once again, a very unique, very detailed hair sculpt. I absolutely love it. So, honestly, I think these two heads work just fine. But I don't know. They just seem a little bit off to me. You have to let me know what you think in the comments. But like I said, I think they work just fine. And yeah, let's move it on down to the body sculpt and the attire. All right, so they absolutely killed it with the body sculpt and the attire. And I'll do a comparison with her Unrivaled Series 14 figure that came out a little bit ago and show you what I mean by that, how they improved her body sculpt. But the body sculpt here is amazing, and that's something that Jazwares does such a fantastic job with their women's wrestling figures, especially as of the last couple years, is they really make each women's wrestling figure feel like it's their own representation. A lot of the parts that they use on them are well thought out, and they match the woman's real life physique, and I love the detail that they put into their women's figures. I cannot say enough good about AEW women's figures, honestly. And this is a major reason why, because the body sculpt. I mean, the sculpts are very lifelike to the woman that they are supposed to represent. And here, no different. We have Toni Storm's physique displayed almost perfectly here. She has very thick, muscular legs, and we do have those down below there. She has a very narrow waist, very cool. Now, I will say something I've noticed is this leg is a little wonky. I don't know why. It looks like, you see how it's kind of like, it's curved that way, and then that's curved that way. So it's almost like she has two right legs. It doesn't look like it on the boots. Everything looks fine. Maybe it's just positioned a little weird. But yeah, the body sculpt, amazing. Jazwares knocked it out of the park as always. Now, the overall theme of this is a gray skin tone with the black base attire. And then we have a little bit of white peppered throughout the attire. So let's zoom in here. So this top is the biggest improvement from her previous figure, as I'll show you in the next segment here, where they really made this top look good and still give her articulation here. The sculpt is unique. It really matches what she wears and how she looks. It's all black with a little trim there. On the back, we have that contrasting attire where it's supposed to be like a see-through whitish, grayish type pattern, a floral design, I guess you could say, and it looks awesome. Moving on down to the bottoms here, they are her trunk-looking tights, and we do have sculpting there. We also have the beautiful deco, as I mentioned before, kind of the floral type pattern with the gray and the white. It looks fantastic. Black trim along the waistband and the thighs. And then we have these old-school black boots with the white laces. I absolutely love that. Now, I will say that she does have tattoo detail here. So on her forearm there, also on her hand, and then on her other forearm, her other hand. So, yeah, they really did an excellent job here. I'm just trying to inspect for other tattoos here. They really did an excellent job with the body sculpt and the attire and giving it that black and white appearance. I mean, I am just smiling ear to ear. Now, let's compare this figure to Toni's previous AEW Jazwares figure. All right, so on the left, we have Toni Storm's AEW Unrivaled 14 figure in the main line there, and on the right, we obviously have today's exclusive. Now, the one on the left is a lot more colorful, obviously, especially comparing it to today's. It's kind of funny. This whole figure review feels like it's filmed in black and white, but I promise it's not. I just have a gray sheet in the background. It really makes colors pop. Wondering if I should have used a color background. Anyway, the one on the left is very colorful and unique. It comes with her really cool sunglasses, this cool leather jacket. But the one thing I didn't like about the figure is if you look at that upper torso piece. Okay, we have her top sculpted on, and then we have some flesh hanging down to form that joint. And I just thought that was an eyesore. I thought it looked a little bizarre. It looks a little weird, almost a little obscene, right? So I wasn't a big fan of that. But here on today's, it's not there. And it is a 100% improvement. And that's such a small nitpicky thing. Like, overall, they captured her physique really well in her likeness. But that little thing bothered me, and they fixed it on today's figure. So yeah, comparing them, I mean, it looks like two different superstars just based off of the attire and the look alone. But you can tell they're Toni. I think Jazwares has done an excellent job of capturing Toni Storm's likeness. I think this figure on the left is truly an amazing figure. And today's, in my opinion, is even more fantastic. I absolutely freaking love it. Let's get into articulation. So the head. Okay, the head doesn't move a whole lot, which is okay. It doesn't move a whole lot. Maybe it's that hair sculpt kind of holding it back. Our shoulders on a ball joint can move in all different directions, can go up, go down. It kind of ratchets into place, very solid. Double jointed elbows, maximum flexion. Wrist can extend and flex and also rotate. Now, as I mentioned, we do have this upper torso joint that here it is part of the top, which looks great, but it really doesn't move as well, which really isn't a huge issue. But yeah, that mobility isn't the best, but I think it looks tremendous, so I'll take that all day. We have a waist swivel, hip is on a ball joint, can move in all different directions. The knees are double jointed. We have an upper boot swivel, and then the foot is really good articulation. You can go down and up. It kind of ratchets into place. It can also rock side to side, so yeah. This Toni's articulation is excellent. So overall, I give AEW Jazwares, Ringside Collectibles, exclusive timeless Toni Storm, an overall score of a 9.6 out of 10. Now, as far as an exclusive goes, this is a 10 out of 10. They put so much effort, thought, and detail, and not only the packaging, but the figure itself. It is a black and white themed figure. The execution was near perfect. I think it is a must-have for any wrestling figure collector, whether you're a women's wrestling figure collector, whether you're a Jazwares AEW collector, or just collect wrestling figures in general. I think this is a must-have to your collection because it's so unique, and the fact that it is a black and white themed figure for the perfect gimmick is tremendous. I mean, the amount of love and care that went into this figure makes me want to give it a 10 out of 10, call it a day, honestly, because I love it. But I am going to give it a 9.6 for a couple small little nitpick reasons. Number one, I do think the facial likeness is a little bit off on both sculpts. I think the one that I have displayed on her where she's doing the I think that's a little better, but I do think the likeness leaves a little bit to be desired, but obviously not that much because it didn't take a whole lot of points off. And also, I do like the robe, and I am happy that it is a little bit different than the Julia Hart robe, but I wish they would have gone with the see-through material and added some fur. I know that would have added the cost to the figure, but I think that would have also helped this figure reach that perfect figure. Now, do I think this figure is going to be a contender for Figure of the Year? Abso-freaking-lutely, and it goes beyond just the figure in this review, and that sounds crazy to me, but you know, I review these women's wrestling figures for what they are, how they come out, and their likeness. Every little category and trait I go over, and that's how I make my score. But this figure here is a truly one-of-a-kind figure, and I can't really put into words how awesome it is that we got a black and white Toni Storm figure. Like I said, that alone wants me to give it like a personal score of a 10 out of 10, but I have to give it a 9.6 because the faces are a wee bit off, and I wish we would have gotten her more iconic robe with the fur on it with the see-through lace. But either way, 1000% recommend you pick up this figure. It is freaking amazing. Thanks for stopping by LumberJillville. Women's wrestling lives here. To get a first look at all future women's wrestling figure reviews, make sure to hit subscribe and become an official resident of LJV today. Also, head on over to ringsidecollectibles.com and use coupon code LJV at checkout to save 10% on your next order of women's wrestling figures. Now stay tuned, there are a lot of exciting women's wrestling figure reviews and related videos coming out, including some ideas I had that I might start a new series in LumberJillville. But either way, it'll be coming very soon. I hope you enjoyed today's review, and have a great night, y'all.